So it seems we are going to spend the afternoon together, for the whole afternoon, with a short break, listening to a man sitting on a chair talking. It seems a little strange. How could that be interesting? There must be something extraordinarily important in what he has to say to keep you here. And that is true. But of course, there needs to be something in you that recognizes that there's something extraordinarily important, not in the person speaking, but ultimately in you. So that recognition needs to be there in you. And that's nothing to do with how much knowledge you have, spiritual knowledge, or accumulated education, or PhDs, or degrees. Nothing to do with that kind of mental faculty. There is another faculty in humans that in most humans on the planet is as yet dormant, and in some, a growing number of humans has awakened. I call it faculty, something, a dimension of consciousness that's different from the prevailing ordinary dimension of consciousness on the planet. So that's a spiritual awakening. That is the next step in human evolution, because humans have not come to the end of their evolution. Humans are a work in progress. It's not finished yet. It would be terrible, imagine that. Humans as they are now, a finished product, crazy. And that's why some people, because they have misperceptions about humans and they have misperceptions about God, and then they say, how could God allow all this to happen? All this is based on two misperceptions, that humans are a finished product created by God a long time ago, and that God is a patriarchal figure controlling things from above, or has lost interest completely and walked off, maybe somewhere else, because he realized that he didn't do a good job. So our afternoon here works on two levels. There's the level of words and thoughts, and that is necessary. But more importantly, there is that to which the words and the thoughts that underlie the words point. And that is the essence of our gathering here. And that to which they point is the essence of who you are. And the purpose of our afternoon is to either awaken, or in the case of many of you, to deepen the realization or the connectedness with who you truly are. And when I say truly, I mean in the depths of your being, and I mean a dimension that is deeper than your personal history. And most humans are completely unaware that there is a dimension of consciousness in them that is deeper than their personality, their personal self. So they are trapped on the surface level of reality, and that is not a pleasant place to be. You are basically then trapped in your conditioned personality, the person, the egoic self, and you know, somehow, you know that there is something not right. You know somewhere, instinctively, you know there's something so important that's not here yet and that's missing in my life. There's something wrong. And how humans interpret that mentally, what they perceive or feel to be wrong, varies from person to person. One person might say, what's wrong is that all humans don't have the same religion that we have. There's something deeply wrong. So we need to either convert them or kill them. Or other humans say there's something deeply wrong about society. They project it outward. Of course, there's lots wrong with society, but what is society? It's the sum total of the individuals. There's something deeply wrong with my personal history. It's so unsatisfying. Why? Why did so many things go wrong in my life? Things that weren't supposed to happen. I imagined things going very differently. Failed marriage and divorce and all this dreadful suffering, and then there was the illness, and then there was that, and then there were great achievements, and then there were, again, the opposite. Something is looking for the next thing to feel fulfilled by possessions, recognition, something missing. There's always something missing. What they don't know is that what is missing, what they look for outside, or they blame others for preventing them from finding it. You can blame entire groups of people for making you feel unfulfilled. It's a very common thing these days, and very satisfying to the false sense of self, because if you can see yourself as a victim, either on a personal level or collective level, that gives you a somewhat satisfying sense of identity, satisfying in a completely non-satisfying way. It's a paradox. You feel good about feeling bad. The more you can complain about others, and the better you feel, but it's bad. But the ego thinks it's better. And you feel, now you know who you are more fully. It's a fiction. So you can emphasize your victim identity on the personal level to give you some kind of stronger sense of self, or you can emphasize your identity as the one who is victorious in the world, me. The ego doesn't mind which one. They're both equally strong and equally false. Usually the egoic self is interpreted by people as people who have a high sense of, exaggerated sense of who they are, who think they're better than others, and that is one aspect of ego. But there's another aspect of ego which is equally strong, and that is people who have a self-image, a self-identity of being more of a victim than somebody else or others. Oh, that works too. So whichever is most convenient to you, you can use that. So people use all kinds of things to create a more satisfying sense of identity for themselves, but it's all in the head. It's ultimately all consists of the structure of thought. And that is what I call to be trapped on the level of the person or the personality. Another way of putting it is to be trapped on the level of form, the form of who you are, which is the physical and the psychological form of who you are, the me and my story, me and my personal history. And then all the conditioning, the opinions and viewpoints and convictions, and through which you interpret everything according to the conditioning of the personality. Then you look at things and you immediately label things and situations and people as they come into your perception. There's the immediate labeling, and you think it's all true. You don't realize that you are looking at reality through a veil of your conditioned mind. And really what you're seeing is the veil of your conditioning, and there's something there behind it, but you can't clearly see it at all. It's a dreadful state to be in, but it's normal. This is why I sometimes say normal equals insane. So, and this is such a fundamental question. The question of identity is the most important question in your life. Who am I? And you know that it's important. But you don't know where your true identity is, because at school nobody taught you. It should be the most important thing that children are taught. Discover your essence identity. Is that a subject at school? I haven't heard of it, never come across it.